Hi, I'm gonna do a reading on Elizabeth Taylor. I really enjoy doing these readings on celebrities that have whatever you want to call it, like ascended or crossed over, or hanging out close to the human level. Like I guess it depends on their level of healing. So anyway, I don't think I've done one on her because she's a pretty big personality, and I would have remembered that. So here I go. All right. By the way, I have 3 kids, so I don't really know what this character is like meaning is and stuff, but I like the pattern and stuff. Okay. Um, so I don't think I'm not really a fan of like cartoons in general. I don't like dislike them, but I'm certainly not like watching them. I'd rather watch like a documentary about like digging up rocks or something. Maybe because I'm a Virgo. I don't know. All right, so here we go. Elizabeth Taylor. I feel like she's like, like just like in life, she was very passionate, advocating for people. She still has that vibe, like on the other side, like wanting to like correct things or tell people off. Like, I get the feeling like, how she played Cleopatra, but I feel like she could have had a past life that was even more powerful than Cleopatra. So kind of being bossy, came naturally to her. And it would have been frustrating for her at that time in our society, in history, where women weren't given their full respect. I feel like she thinks that any like biography written about her is really weak and poorly written. It's good she has high standards. Okay. Yeah, and like the subject matter was like too much into like romance and stuff because like romance is sorry, I don't know why my eyes tear up, but they do. Um I sort of feel like like the book might have started off okay, like, this is where she started out, blah blah blah. And then they just get too much into her like love life and the problems and stuff rather than like her achievements and just kind of keeping it classy. Not that like there's anything to avoid talking about, but it's like you don't need to majority talk about like, oh, and then they broke up and like it's like, like say you wanted to talk about her and Eddie Fisher, you don't have to talk about the drama of like breaking up his marriage. And it's like, well, what were the qualities of their relationship? You know what I mean? Regardless of whether whatever Carrie Fisher's mother could get over it or not, or move on or not, or like held bitterness or what. It's like she wasn't like they were together for some reason, and it was not to just be like, ooh, I want some drama in my life, I want people to be pissed at me. Like they obviously had some kind of purposeful relationship. All right, that's what I feel like. Okay, because this is other section that's really like, oh, okay, I'm just gonna look at what is that. Okay, yeah, at first I was getting like a vehicle, like car, and then it was like a plane. So it was like the reference to the plane crash of one of her husbands, whose name I forget. That really like, I feel like in her mind, and I feel like it's true that like had that relationship continued, had he not died, it would have been like her relationship that she would have stayed with. Okay. I feel like it's if I don't know, I don't wanna, like, do 2 readings in one, but it's possible that, like, someone didn't want him to keep living. I feel like there was a slight, there was some I feel like there's some sabotage energy in there having to do with the plane crash. And, like, if Elizabeth Taylor tried to, like, figure out what happened or work with police, like, there really was not the acceptable level of cooperation, I feel like. And then she just kind of became weaker for a moment, and then that level of weakness, which was uncharacteristic for her, is what, like, threw her into her relationship with Eddie Fisher, I think, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, so, like and that's why her relationship with Eddie Fisher didn't last a long time because it was, like, her less evolved version of herself that she'd already achieved, like, she just had a dip in confidence and was just, like, someone just needed to pick up the pieces, you know? But then she, like, sprung back into, like she, like, woke up like, "Oh, I'm back." I feel like that guy who died in the plane crash could have easily, like, repelled any of, like, suitors that were powerful men or attractive men, like, convincingly, so that's one reason why she would have stayed with him. I feel like on a spiritual level, they had an agreement that, like, she needed to do certain things for humanity that she could only do away from him. And he might have, like, left, like, 20 years earlier than she wanted in terms of that, sort of agreement they had spiritually. I feel like he wasn't, like, very like, that political a person, so he wouldn't have really wanted to, like, be so busy with other people in that way. Um, I get the word defiance, but it's, like, in her case, a compliment, like, a good attribute. And so there's, like, the good wife and then the defiant person, like so in the end, I think, it was more important for her to shake society up and, like, highlight something from her point of power rather than just be, like, the good wife. I feel like she was, like, I guess this is, like, a trigger warning, like, sexually mistreated, in her early career. I'm not gonna specify what that is, but I can clearly see what it was. Um, which in part gave birth to her defiant and, like, sometimes, like, overly defensive or, like, up in your face quality because absolutely no one was gonna take advantage of her moving forward, from a certain point, from, like, age 16 moving forward. No, like and so it would take a special person let's say, like, someone who could, like, uh, what's the word? Not train, but, like, subdue, like, a wild let's say, like, someone who was used to dealing with, like, animals that had been mistreated or wild horses and, like, you're not, like, breaking them, but you're, like, earning their trust. So, like, someone who, like, was used to, like, really loud, difficult people, but, like, love them, or those are the only kinds of people that could sort of deal with her because she had this, like, very, like, warrior side that came out, like, blazing, like flames from her eyes kind of thing, like, and, some people love that and only want that, and other people are just like, "You're too much," you know? So, that sort of explains why Richard Burton and her were, like, compatible for a time. Okay. Um, there's this, like, inner darkness that, like, she knew kind of was there and that would, prove useful in acting. That, like, feels like it's in part, like, parental, like like, her parents, like, not doing their job. Um, yeah, neglect is the word I was trying to think of. And, sorry, it's just, like, there's a really heavy energy coming in. Um, okay, and then so therefore she was drawn to people who also experienced a similar fate early in their life, and I would draw attention to Michael Jackson in this case. So while they might have seemed like an odd couple, they had a lot in common. It's like we want to be the absolute best we can be in this lifetime, and like people find different ways of saying no or sabotaging them or like directly hurting them. Um, so I guess you could call them like I guess I don't know. I haven't really like tried to define the word soulmate, but like you know spiritually and human like aligned. I guess whatever if that's a soulmate. um, okay, and then so she kind of needed people like that. Like she liked being around people who were very artistic and into artistic excellence. And at the same time, she enjoyed being with people who were like well aware of their darkness. Not that they're using that darkness for bad, but they're just, it's there, whether you can call that not being healed or accepting it or like integrating it to be like your full character or whatever. Anyway, so and she really enjoyed having discussions with directors. I don't know if she ever directed something herself, but I feel like she could have done some, like at least 4 amazing feature films that she could have directed had she chose to do so. I don't know if like independent cinema was such a big thing, or if she would have thought that it would be like downgrading, or because like I feel like respect was like a really big thing for her, and I don't know if paying like Cassavetes style, like paying for your own film, if she could humble herself. I'm hearing no. So like silence and humility can be very powerful. It's not necessarily like a bad thing, but like not everybody's into that vibe or whatever. I feel like the jewelry she had that gave her strength, and like I think anybody would feel good. Like let's say you don't have any jewelry on, and then you put on like a $500,000 Cartier diamond necklace or something. Like it might amp up your mood, not just because it's expensive, just because it's like extremely beautiful and it has some kind of vibe to it, whatever. So like that kind of vibe of like really nice jewelry really helped her energy, like healed her, brought like restored like a battery, like restored her energy. And like let's say you took all her jewelry away, she would kind of shrink down like the like in the Wizard of Oz where the witch like shrinks or whatever. Like it's kind of like that where she just needed that crystal energy. Like I mean, because like watches and stuff run off of quartz crystals. Like that's the battery, I think, right? So there is some energy in crystals, and perhaps I don't know what astrological sign she was, but like maybe she's an Earth sign if like that. I don't know if that's a thing. Okay, Elizabeth Taylor. She loved like color and like the color red, especially. She just like loved it. And like wearing red lipstick, it would just like make her heart sing. Like she was very visual. Like there's that clip from a movie where she's doing her makeup and like overdrawing her eyeliner and just it's a great scene that people put a clip on YouTube and stuff. And that's really true to how she liked to spend her time. Like it's like a painter, but a painter who likes the dark blues and the reds and stuff like that. Like I don't know if I'm right here, but like maybe like Monet, like not Monet, but Manet, like I think it's like that type of like precise but minimalistic enjoyment of like the human form and like beautifying that in simple ways. Sorry. So like let's say if she weren't an actress, she could have painted. I don't know if she painted at all, but if she did, she was probably good. I feel like she has some regrets about like how she was as a mother. Like you can say like she tried her best, like small b best, but like I feel like she could have sort of put herself second more, and she has I feel like some regrets in that regard of not like letting them take center stage, so that they can really like lock into their purpose and stuff. I'm not sure what her children have done in their lives, but uh, anyway, I'm feeling this regret she has because she had too many people in her ear because of her popularity. Like there were a lot of people just taking her attention away that she could have given to her kids. So she wasn't good at boundaries, let's say, with just friends and stuff, or events, or like dinners, or whatever. Like, parenting is like in the like parenting is like being like a warden. Like you're like your awareness has to be on like full, and like you want to make sure they're doing well like all the time. So it's like this hyper alertness, like how are you doing, how was your day, like is there anything you need help with, like do you feel good, like all that stuff. And you can't just sort of forget about it for a couple months and then come back and have a party or something. Like it's like a all the time task. So I feel like she wasn't able to put like all that time into, you know, not helicoptering, but like surveilling kind of, you know, parenting activities. Because like some people who are really wealthy like hire nannies, and you're just, I mean, it's almost like adopting away your kids, like because somebody else is literally raising your kids. So there was some aspect of she wanted to spend more time with them and really let them feel that like she was their rock, literally, not just saying so. Okay. I feel like she's saying like, if you don't get my like, because people might like lock on to certain aspects of like how she dressed, or like, like people could copy her style and like in a funny way or this or that, or but she's kind of like, if you don't get the meaning of my life, then you're stupid. like, so people need to just like really look at her work, how she was like, breaking the rules, like how she could have just been like, arm candy, but she was just like a force of nature. Like those were all really important things in her lifetime. Yeah, like, and in terms of her weight fluctuation and stuff like that, like people, like, let's say she was heavier at one point, that doesn't diminish her, like, her at other stages in her life. Like, so she doesn't want people to like, out of some kind of bored cruelty, to just like take jabs at her. Like, she's a human being first. Like, and she's not just an automatic joke just because she's in the public. I feel like she really missed, like, one aspect is like she really missed having her like thick dark hair, like when she got older. Like that was, and maybe that's why she teased it up and made it like big and curly and stuff. um yeah, because as people age, like little things here and there are like taken from you, whether it's like vitality or you know whatever different aging effects. I feel like she would have wanted to be in more comedies, and like if she had been easier on herself, she would have done so, or could have written or directed and starred in some more comedies like later in her life. She really like, it's a really bright area of her like picture that I'm looking at. It's like comedy. I feel like, like Rose, like Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf. What, I think she won an Oscar for that, but like she would have been happier to be in a really good comedy and win an award for that. But I think because of how people perceived her as being like difficult or like, self-possessed, like they gave her that role, or like green lighted that role, like however it went. But it's there's some like regret, like some sort of unused territory where she wanted to make this other impact more in the world of comedy. And not like stupid comedies and stuff, but like really clever and great ones. Because I think she loved to feel happy and she liked other people to feel happy, and it was like she felt it was part of her mission to make people feel happy. Um, and she was like a very generous donor. Um, but like this could have like, like sometimes, like I remember in the 90s, if I ever had a breakup, I would just like go to the theater and see an Eddie Murphy film because he always like cheered me up, or he had like a nice kind of angelic presence. I felt like it just like made me feel good. So it's similar to that. Like she would have liked to have done some more roles where she was funny, just so people could watch it and feel good. I'll just think of a couple more things so it's not like an epic like reading. I know you got stuff to do too. All right, Elizabeth Taylor. I feel like she cared about animals and animal safety. Um, just trying to like look at her life purpose and stuff like that. I feel like one of her messages from like, being in spirit form, is that even if you don't consider yourself a great singer or capable of having a career in it or anything like that, just like even if it's very quiet singing, just do it. I feel like she is highlighting that this is a very healing practice to do. And like some people say that like a futurist, whatever, healing medicine in the future would include like a lot of sound therapies in some ways. And that like when people go like like that vibration you make by making that sound is very healing to your body. And so just singing is a good practice for people, and she wants people to like not just because especially in today, where there's so much stuff like on the internet, like you could spend your whole life being silent and sitting and just watching other people doing stuff, but it's important to like use sound for your body, and like singing or just like quietly singing even like is better than nothing. Sorry, I keep hitting the thing under the table. Because like her part of her life was being creative, using her voice, stuff like that. So she's a pro using your voice at whatever level you're at, and it's for you. And it's like critics. It's kind of like anyway. I watched this thing about Marvin Gaye's like last 48 hours or something like that, and because I was like it really affected me like when he died and stuff, and I was like a young teenager, and I was like, okay, like at no point in my life will I ever go anywhere near cocaine. Not that it was being offered to me or anything, but I was just like, absolutely not, in remembering Marvin Gaye's struggles and stuff like that. And so it's okay, no, I'm like totally lost what I was trying to say. So, okay, I'm trying to find my way back. Why was I? What did this have to do with Elizabeth Taylor? Wait, I'll just relax into it and see. There was some tie, and I can't remember right now, but it's like, like, I'll just tune into her energy again instead of Marvin Gaye's, because his energy is really strong too. Um, oh right, yeah, like he was living with his father, who was like the source of his. Um, it was kind of like when he was feeling really fragile, he went and like stayed with the people that triggered him the most. Um, and it's like that honking sound is sort of like high fiving that. So, okay, in terms of critics and stuff, right? So sometimes your harshest critics can be in your own family or like your closest friends or stuff like that. So it's important to, like, in terms of singing, if people are like, oh, you can't sing, it's like, don't let the people who are closest to you like stop you from living and stop you from like just enjoying being alive and like singing or doing whatever activity you enjoy, that's positive. um yeah, because like, yeah, there's plenty of people who are like, oh, I could never sing, but it's like, I've been to shows where even if there's like 3 seconds of something cool, I'm like satisfied and happy. I'm like, that was a great show. So like, you don't have to be perfect. And like, I have records by people who are like technically like bad singers, but who are like, it's just still a great performance. Like, you know what I mean? So like, don't like judge yourself out of something before you try. And like, maybe people will just really love what you do or appreciate it, or maybe they'll just like hearing the sound of you singing, or like they'll just like that you're feeling better because you're doing it and it makes you happier. Like, it has a positive effect one way or the other. Okay, I'm glad I found my way back from that. Like, what? Um, okay, so one more thing. I feel like she's highlighting Christmas. I feel like she wants to highlight, like, it's not important that Christmas be really materialistic. It's about like, I'm so glad you're here. I appreciate you. Just like that warmth and like this, that kind of stability and foundation that you get from like reemphasizing, like, we're gonna take time out to just be like, wow, like, we're so grateful to be together, and that's the gift. What? So it's like, so if people want to make a trend to like uh take the focus off gift giving, because like some people either can't afford it, it can be like a heavy burden, or make people depressed, like to have to achieve at that level. If people can make an agreement like 2 months ahead, like, we're going to do Christmas this way, um you know if everybody's in agreement and understands why, like, maybe it would be nice. Like, maybe it would be nice to take like winter walks together, or like, you know, see the gift as the time you have together rather than like, a new electric razor or something. Well, you know what I mean? Like, what's really memorable? It's the time. It's not like, oh my god, I remember. Like, maybe, okay, getting a bike when you're a kid, I understand, like, that's a good memory, but like, a lot of Christmas gifts and stuff were not like, oh my, that sweater just blew my mind and it made my life complete. I think people more remember just having a nice time with each other, and like, depending on where you live, like where I live, it's like snowy and it's really dark at like 3 p.m. and stuff. So like, lights matter, and like, you know, the sound absorbent quality of snow, and like all these, it's like that time of year where things are dark and cold, like to remember that we have this like fire within, this like love within and stuff, and just stoke that fire. So she just wants people to be, even though she was like very fortunate and abundant in terms of money and stuff, like, she's trying to say, like, it's more important to value your friendships and stuff like that, kinda like what she was saying she regretted about, not spending as much time with her kids as she wished. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna get, like, a last little comment here. Why do I feel like Marilyn Monroe is, like, sneaking in on this reading? Okay, Elizabeth Taylor only. Okay, Elizabeth Taylor. This comes up a lot in, like, celebrity readings, especially people that passed on that they want, like, some kind of school or community building or something like that dedicated to them. I don't know if there's something, for her, but I'm seeing this, like, sign and, like, T like a really strong letter, like her name on, like, a building. I'm just gonna see what's in the building. Ironically, it feels like because she didn't really maybe get into independent cinema that much, I feel like it has to do with that, like an Elizabeth Taylor, like, support system of, like, how to make, a career in independent cinema, and I mean, that's really relevant today because, like, studios are kinda like these dinosaurs, like, grasping at, trying to climb up this cliff of progress where everybody can kinda make their own films now, but, like, not everybody knows, like, even though the internet's a great resource, I feel like she wants some kind of, like, in-person support structure where people can, like, be encouraged to make their own films and stuff like that. It's just what I see. Because I think she really believed in, like, person-to-person contact. I mean, I'm a bit of, like, a whatever. Like, I'm not always, like, isolated and stuff like that, but, like, I can be a bit wary of people. And, like, she's really into, like, no, like, everybody's got a huge heart and, like, you, that's how magic happens and, like, so she really wants, even if it's just, like, one small storefront place, like, maybe in LA or I don't know, um, that would just be like a place you could walk in and just chat with people who know how to make it happen and just to have that personal support to, like, go forth and make your project and stuff like that. It's sort of like counseling, but, like, not like, "Oh, you have a problem." It's more just like, "Yeah, art is great. Like, let's feel good about this," you know? And I think she really wanted to reach people at all levels of income, and especially people who are, like, struggling income-wise and stuff, and to still feel like make people feel empowered to go ahead and go after their dreams, like, in a really achievable, warm friendship, like, network kinda way. Alright, I'm just gonna wrap that up because, like, I'm almost tired from this reading, but, I appreciate, connecting with her, and I hope you guys enjoyed the reading. Um, I don't wear my glasses, so I can only read the comments afterwards, but I appreciate if, you guys commented, and if anybody wants to subscribe, that'd be great because it, like, to get at, like, at least to the 1,000 mark would be, like, really awesome. Alright, thank you for tuning in, bye.